Hi, you alright? Could I interview you for a YouTube channel? Would that be okay? Sure. Very quickly, because of your costume, I like it. Cool. Can you tell me which character from Adventure Time you are? If you don't know, Steven Universe is about a chubby little boy who lives with his alien friends because his mum was an alien and they all fight over aliens and have cute adventures, and there's a lion, there's a big plot about a war and stuff. It's very easy to see why this show is a crowd pleaser. It's beautiful, it handles strong LGBTQ plus relationships as casually and respectfully as they should be. It's got a good sense of humour, a dark and interesting overarching plot, and some great music. But overall, I think its biggest attraction is how all these things contribute a warm, sugary tone to the show that will either feel like a cozy blanket or an overly sweet and sickening experience depending on your tastes. But what about the big dark overarching plot you mentioned? That doesn't sound sugary at all. True. Random person I made up. While the big dark plot I mentioned doesn't start kicking into like halfway through the show, it does address some hefty themes of war, identity and loss, and really adds heaps of depth to all the characters. There's a deep, well thought out backstory there that really explains why all the characters are like how they are, and tackles complicated issues with great emotional intelligence and clarity, which I feel kids can understand. I mean, it also features songs like Do It For Her, where one of the characters is making a child soldier out of one of the kid characters, so that's like really messed up. But what separates Steven Universe from just your average happy kid show is how it acknowledges all the bad things in the world rather than hide them, and still holds the stance that everything will be alright. With TV shows now getting increasingly dark and twisted, I know there are days I want to just take refuge in a pillow fort and a onesie with a hot chocolate and a large collection of Disney films. We all have our comforts. We all have our escapism. Steven Universe understands that now more than ever. Shows like Black Mirror aren't exactly the escapism we really need. I'd actually argue that it's not selling us escapism at all, but in fact empowering us with the hope and confidence to tackle whatever life personally throws at us. Against all odds, after a year like 2016, love and optimism is still in high demand. We could do with some more of that. Oh look, it's Adventure Time. This video ain't finished though. Steven Universe ain't perfect and I'm gonna poke some holes in it, alright? So you got this very upbeat kids show about magical gay aliens with swords and shit fighting monsters while Steven eats pizza and tries to give them all a hug for the first season or two. It's colourful, campy and has a lot of fun, but if this positivity puts you off, it might not be for you. It's not for everyone really, especially since all that depth I mentioned doesn't get going for a long time while the show is still finding its feet. Hell, my favourite character doesn't properly get into it till like the end of season 2. Speaking of characters, Steven is annoying and gets slightly better as he matures. Garnet is all cool, Pearl is a jealous, neurotic, sociopath, motherly type, and Amethyst is a dickhead. I do think some of its characters start off way too frustrating and insufferable to watch and root for at the start, but of course the point is that they're all broken, and good storytelling requires seasons worth of room for their growth, because no one's perfect. On top of that, a lot of people aren't a big fan of filler episodes, which in the case of Steven Universe is any episode not furthering the main plot, and they do tend to be the weaker episodes overall. However, I think for a show like this to work, you need lighter episodes that are more kid-friendly to break up the heaviness. Oh yeah, by the way, it's like Tumblr's most favourite show in the world, and the fanbase can be scarily obsessive. As with all fandoms, I can see why their obsession would put you off a good show, but it shouldn't. Just, ignore them or something. Unlike cartoons like Adventure Time and My Little Pony that started to cater to older audiences later in their run, this show from the very first episode is very clearly targeting both young children and young adults, and striking that balance is extremely difficult. Adventure Time, I legitimately love you, but you started off too wacky for adults and have now gotten way too dark for kids. And also, My Little Pony is just all sugar and rainbows, and while I think I get the appeal for the same reasons I mentioned before, it's way too much. Like, That show is clearly aimed at little girls, and if you're into that, that's totally fine, but I like 1 sugar in my tea, not 20. Steven Universe is probably like 4 or 5 sugars in my tea on this very British scale I've just made up, but I can handle that, since it's very well made from every standpoint. But still, I'd recommend just giving it a try first, just to see if it's how you like your brew. Not rating all the episodes, but the show on an average deserves an awesome rating. And that's what I think of Steven Universe. Thank you very so much for watching. If you like this video, then please subscribe to this channel to keep up to date with my future reviews and video essays. But for now, I will see you later.